my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. New members, old members, everyone, welcome. Hope you've subscribed. Well, today we'll be making this gorgeous crop top with this really nice belt. I don't know the name for this top, but it is beautiful. So if you want to know how to make this top, stay tuned. Love you. So now that our shoulder line is done, let's get our chest line. So from your shoulder line to your chest line is 8 inches standard measurement for everyone. That's what I used here. So after that, you add your underbust measurement. So mine is 13.5 plus half-inch sewing allowance. You can make it longer if you want. You can make this side longer, but make sure it doesn't exceed 15 if you have a smaller bust. But if you have a bigger bust, so do you, but I have a smaller bust, so 13.5 is okay for me. So I wasn't sure of myself. This is a pattern I've never tried before. I've never sewn something like this, so I decided to reduce it to 10.5, but later on I had to add back that allowance I took out. So do not take out the allowance. If you added 13.5, leave it that way it is. Do not shorten it, because I regretted doing this. So for a B cup, 14 inches to 15 inches is okay for a B cup. If you have a D cup, you can go further, but for a B cup, that 14 inches is okay. It's perfect. That measurement, so divide your shoulder by 2 and add whatever you have. So mine was 15 divided by 2, that's 7.5. So I added it at the shoulder line and also at the bust line. So you know the drill, adding your shoulder, getting your armhole for this. So let's just skip to the better parts. So on the top length, add your bust circumference divided by 4 plus your half-inch seam allowance. So that's the back neckline for. So the width for the neckline is 3 inches, while the depth for the back neckline is 1 inch. So half-inch allowance, just like I've done. Also add the allowance to the slope. You know the drill already. So I tried extending the line by 1.5 inches. That was not enough, so just again leave it at your 14 to 15 inches. So you can see here I have 12 inches, although this 12 inches was pretty okay for me. But if I bounce with this top, if I go clubbing with this top and I bounce, my boobs will be everywhere, so I wasn't going to feel comfortable. So I had to extend it to that 14 inches, which was perfect. Look at that, we're almost coming up. So let's add our front neckline. So it's a V shape, more like wrap, if you're doing a wrap round, whatever, but a V shape. And this is actually a 2-in-1 top. I forgot to mention that earlier on. This is a 2-in-1 top. So add your neckline and trace out the back parts. So cut out the pattern using the back neckline and back armhole, because we're going to be using this to trace out the back, then come back for the front. So y'all know the drill already, right? So since I folded my pattern into two to sketch the front parts, I decided to just split it open and use the part without the markings as the back parts and the part with the marking as the front part. So if you folded your pattern into 2, just split it open and use the lower side as the back piece, just like I did. So you see it, this is what I mean. Now let's work on the front piece. So now we have the front piece alone. Cut out the neckline and the front armhole, then place this front piece on a fresh pattern paper and trace out, adding 1.5 inches allowance to the front neckline. So after adding your allowance, cut out the front piece and your front and back pattern is ready. Remember, you're going to cut the back pattern on fold. You're going to have 2 pieces of the back pattern and 4 pieces for the front pattern. Now we're done with the bodies, let's work on the belts. So the width for this belt is 3 inches plus 0.5 inch seam allowance, and you're going to be cutting it on fold. You're going to be cutting one side on fold actually. So the length of this belt depends on your preference. So normally I love my belt going round and round, so it depends on how you can multiply your waist measurement by 2, or you can just the length, whatever length you want. So it's time to work on the sleeve. Now the cap height for this sleeve is 4 inches, your average cap height. The length for the sleeve, I'm using 8 inches plus 1.5 inches seam allowance. So from the 1.5 inches allowance you added, just go by 2 inches. This is where the ruching is going to be on. You're going to be adding your elastic here, so just go by 2 inches and mark. So go ahead and add your round sleeve measurement plus 3 inches allowance. I have a tutorial on how to achieve a sleeve. I'm going to drop a link below. So all my pieces are ready. Next thing is to trace them on the fabric, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and it's time to sew. Before we move over to the sewing machine, get the front piece and the back piece and pin them together just like this. Sew on the shoulder by 0.5 inches and on the side as well. Now put the other piece and repeat the same process, sewing on the shoulder line and on the side. So both sides and both shoulders will be sewn by 0.5 inches. We're done with this. We're going to repeat the same process for the other fabric, which is going to serve as the lining. So after repeating the process, now we are going to join the lining and the main fabric through the neckline. So from the neckline of both fabrics, I'm going to sew from that back neckline down to the front neckline, which is our V-shaped neckline. So sew that by 0.5 inches. So once I'm done with the neckline, next thing is to close up the ends of the fabric. So the lower part of the fabric, I'm going to close it by 0.5 inches and then turn this fabric inside out through the armhole. So this is what it's looking like, looking nice and cute already. Now set the bodice aside. Let's work on the sleeve. So I folded in my allowance. I'm going to go by 2 inches. That place where I marked with my blue chalk is where I'm going to insert my elastic. Now bring back your bodice. It's time to work on it, but make sure you iron the bodice before you do this next step. So now is the time the O-ring comes to play. So actually I wore this on my body and then pulled it, ensure that it's as tight as I wanted it to be before sewing through like this. So I did the same for the other side, and now I have to attach the belt. Yeah, I know the space in the O-ring might look small, but you have to manage to attach both belts. So this is what it looks like with everything attached to the O-ring. Now let's try this on and see how it fits. Just look how gorgeous this top is. Isn't this top so beautiful? I mean, the bows are sitting pretty, the belt, everything is just on point. We can wear this top to our frenemy's funeral and we're still gonna look gorgeous in it. So thank you all for staying with me to this moment. I love you all. Follow me on socials, official_Sean_Achims on Instagram, Sean_Achims on TikTok, and do subscribe to my channel if you've not. Until then, see you next time. Bye.